Yo, what's up? My name's Patrouski, and welcome back to the PokeMMO Touch Grass Initiative Challenge, where we actually have to go outside and take a walk before we can play video games? Yuck. But in all seriousness, this challenge is a challenge to the community and a challenge to myself, most importantly, to get outside, touch grass, and get your daily steps in. I love playing video games for ridiculous numbers of hours, and I've historically done it pretty healthily, weirdly, in the past, but over the past year or two, I've put more of a focus on my career in the game itself and not as much on my health. My health has taken a bit of a back burner, as you would say. And I'm making a change to put it at the forefront and get outside. And I think the PokeMMO community could never use something like this at a more opportune time. You know, in the middle of event season, in between Halloween and, Christmas, people are playing tons of video games. They're busy, they're distracted. If we can take a little bit of time every day to get outside, take a walk, it can help all of our mental health and our physical health. Once again, this is not me trying to preach. I've been terrible at this for the past 2 years, where you guys have probably been doing a good job. I'm just trying my best now to make a small change where I can. And you might notice I'm not on the challenge account because I have not earned the playtime yet. Currently, I'm on my main account, and as you can see, here are the rules of the challenge if you missed them in episode 1. If you haven't seen episode 1, definitely check it out. The link to the full playlist for this mini-series should be the first link in the description. But for every 2,000 steps I get outside, which is about 1 mile, I earn myself 1 hour of playtime. The purpose of the challenge is to develop a new account from scratch as a beginner player in PokeMMO, and I feel like it's one of the tougher times to do so. So hopefully teaching people how to go about that should help some people out there. The goals consist of getting my first region done, and I picked Unova over on that account, getting myself a catching Smeargle, a catching Breloom, a gym rerun team, a contrary Spinda, and an HM Dragonite. With those things, you can do so many of the activities in PokeMMO as well as during the events themselves. And it's a good foundation on how to make Pokeyen in PokeMMO, which every player needs to do. And alongside our in-game goals, we have our in-real-life goals, which include potentially going for a 50,000 step week and at least maintaining 5,000 steps a day, even if I don't play the challenge. That's a new rule that I meant to mention at the end of episode 1. But if I don't get at least 5,000 steps every single day, I'm considering the challenge lost, and I will have to delete the account and start from scratch. I really don't want to do this, and this is really putting my foot on the gas pedal by making this decision, but I want this to be an intense challenge. If there's no risk, then where's the reward? But anyways, I'm gonna go get a big fat walk in, and I'll see you guys afterwards. Whew. And here we are back with our day 3 of progress. That's right, day 3. You see, I actually have already lived through day 2 in real life, and I did 6,230 steps on day 2 of the challenge. However, I did not have any time this day to play PokeMMO. I was too busy, and that's something that I will have to accept throughout the course of this challenge. I'm a married man with married man responsibilities. I have things to do in my life. But even on those days where I can't log into the challenge account, I'm still going to keep my steps up, because I think it holds true to the spirit of this competition. So far in our first 3 days, we did 11,000 steps on day 1, 6,000 on day 2, and then 5,000 on day 3 so far, but it's only around 3 p.m. I would love to get 800 more steps in and get 3 hours of game time today. Now, I didn't record any walking footage this time, but I did get a nice little picture of a cute lake while I was out. So here's my touch grass proof for today. Let's jump over to the challenge account and keep making progress. And man, something I have been reminded of during the making of this challenge is just how hard your first PokeMMO storyline is. I tell people all the time, don't let anybody ever tell you that this is easy. It's tough, man. It's a genuinely tough storyline. There's tons of Pokemon with type gems, things like Fire Blast at like level 27, all these like crazy things you have to work around in PokeMMO. Trainers utilizing Venoshock Pokemon after toxicing your Pokemon on a previous, Pokemon. And hopefully I can show people how to make it a bit easier, but it's never going to be easy. The first storyline is your hardest one. But we have our Gyarados that we bought in the last episode, and I would love to make up a little bit more Pokeyen, beat up a few trainers in this little part of the next part of the storyline, the little cold storage area. Once I get a few more Pokeyen, I would love to go get some heart scales and teach this thing Waterfall, and that's going to make it way more powerful very quickly. And then also saving up some Pokeyen in the future to just get more powerful storyline Pokemon. As soon as you access the GTL on a main account, you need to be abusing it. You can get such powerful Pokemon for so cheap. All right, but before I take another step, I gotta go ahead and start my timer. Once again, this is a challenge run. I can only play the video game with this timer running. We have 2 hours loaded up so far today. If I do a few more steps later on, I could get another hour, and that's something I might look to do. All right, it took me about 10 minutes, but we're finally at the back part of cold storage, and I healed up beforehand. Not having a physical water move is definitely hindering my ability. I really want that waterfall access. It's gonna suck that it's expensive. I could wait until I get waterfall in Unova. The problem is you don't get the waterfall. You don't actually get waterfall as a HM until like post the storyline. It's like really late. So we are gonna have to buy a few hard scales. I'm guessing it won't be that many, like maybe 2 hard scales. I'm hoping for a move like waterfall. It's dependent on the move, but I really need a physical water move on this Gyarados as soon as possible. I could even potentially save up Pokeyen and just get a different Gyarados, like if it comes down to that. That's definitely an option if I save up enough yen. But we'll deal with that in the future. Right now, I'm getting through the NPCs fine enough. We're not like sweeping crazy style, but it's going well enough. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue on and keep going on. The other crazy thing is just how tanky Gyarados is. You know, I lead off with an Intimidate, which lowers the Watchog's attack stat, and then I only end up taking 6% damage from his Crunch because Gyarados' base stats include a 79 base defense, 100 base def, and 95 HP. Like, this Pokemon just has insane stats all around for this point in the game. If I had a Waterfall here, I'd be one-shotting this strat. You can see the Water Pulse only taking me to, let me move my timer actually. The Water Pulse only doing 90% there is a pretty big difference for, you know, it's a lot of time save. That's the other thing, is the time that I would save for just one-shotting versus having a 2-shot here would be pretty severe. But whatever gets you through your first storyline gets you through. Don't overthink it too much. All right, we've defeated the cold storage area. Now we can finally go access the Driftveil City Gym whenever we're ready. All right, I went ahead and I checked the NPC. If you know, you can talk to the white hair NPC in different Poke Centers across regions and relearn moves. So Waterfall will be 3 hard scales, which is kind of expensive, unfortunately. It's going to cost me like 15k. It might literally be cheaper to buy another Gyarados and just have 2 different Gyaradoses. Ooh, yeah, I was looking through the market. Speaking of good Pokemon to buy, there's this Krokorok level 32. The big thing with Krokorok you have to watch out for, the thing that what makes it good is you want that Moxie ability. So a lot of the cheap Crocodiles or Krokoroks you'll see on the GTL just don't have that Moxie ability. So make sure if you're a new player looking for a Sandile or a, you know, a Krokorok, whatever, make sure it has that Moxie ability. It's really easy to get duped and buy a you know, a good Krokorok, but then you have to spend 35,000 Pokeyen on an ability pill to switch to the ability, and that's what really makes it good. This one's 15 attack, 17 speed, lonely nature, and then I can sell it later on as a 31, once again, breeder. It's 10,000 Pokeyen currently and has that Moxie ability. I'm down 400 Pokeyen. If I had 400 Pokeyen, I could go ahead and buy it. I'm gonna go try to fight one trainer really quick and then go buy that Pokemon. All right, there we go. We made the Pokeyen, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick it up. There we go. That Krokorok has now been bought. And I'm not gonna lie, it's really tough to find Pokemon with good enough stats and like storyline ready Pokemon on the GTL during your first run. It's been really tough, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I will say, if you're just looking for a good Pokemon for the Elite Four, that's where things get tremendously easier. Let me show you that. Things get really cheap. It's just that the fact that I've been capping my max obedience level, that's what's been making all these things so specific and so expensive. So for example, if you look up any Pokemon with minimum level 30, maximum level 35, only 15 plus in the attack and speed, lonely nature, literally nothing comes up. You can't even see Adamant, like 65k for a storyline Pokemon. No, thank you. Naughty nature, 50k for a Mightyena. Like, these things just get crazy, right? But if you get rid of this max level cap, we start seeing a lot of different options. There we go. So now we can see these are all the naughty. Look at this Moxie naughty Krokorok, 16 attack, 27 speed, level 48 for 2k. You get some really cheap, nice options here. This Krokorok, only 3,000 Pokeyen. You could use it and then sell it afterwards as a breeder. When you get rid of that max obedience cap, you run into all these different Pokemon. There's not enough people selling Pokemon towards that 4th gym badge specific player since it's such a short part of the game. I understand why. But you can get tons of higher level Krokoroks, Gyaradoses, whatever the Pokemon is, tons of them for the Elite Four. So once we get to the Elite Four, we'll definitely go ahead and pick up a bunch of cheap mons for their good, really powerful mons on the GTL. But first, let's go ahead and continue on our gym badge journey with gym number 5. All right, we made it pretty quickly down to Clay, the gym leader. I'm going to go ahead and lead with my Gyarados here. This does 2 things. It's obviously a water type into a ground type gym leader, as well as an intimidate lead into a lot of these Pokemon. And then I can bring in Krokorok later on to kill off a weak mon and start snowballing those Moxie procs. And I can just show you guys how powerful this Pokemon can be. Ooh, I just got flinched by a big rock slide and didn't get any chip damage on this Excadrill because of it. Now, I can use this situation to my advantage. I'm going to sacrifice switch out over to my Darumaka, let it die to the Excadrill, bring back in my Gyarados, and get a free Intimidate switch once again. So, utilizing these Intimidate Pokemon where you can in these battles is so crucial in a storyline run. I believe our Sandile might also be in. Oh, it's Moxie, our Sandile in the back. So I'm going to save that back there. I'm going to go ahead and just go straight into the Gyarados. If I really wanted to, I could actually switch out again. I believe his Rock Slide did 46%, so it shouldn't kill me here. If he flinches again, that would be unfortunate. But you can see, I now live an extra hit that I wouldn't normally because of that Intimidate ability. And if I want to like go sacrifice, switch into my Minccino and bring in, I could lower Excadrill's attack by 2. He's confused now. You know, you can kind of keep that train rolling. I'm going to go ahead and try to go for an attack, even though he's confused. Yeah, we go ahead and go down. That's okay. We do have 1 revive in our bag. I'm going to bring in my Krokorok, and this is where you want to start snowballing here. The main problem is I only have Crunch as my only attacking move. I got to fix that as soon as possible on our Krokorok. Ooh, this thing hitting through confusion, outspeeding, lowering my speed. That was worst case scenario. You see a ground gem boost. Once again, these type gems, and then we only do 21% of return. Man, I was really excited to pop off here on our Krokorok, but instead we get embarrassed. And this is a situation where I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice switch over to my Sandile. I still have my Pignite in the back. I'm going to go ahead and use a revive here. I'm going to sacrifice switch. I'm going to look. He's going to Hyper Potion. That's deeply annoying. I'm going to look to revive my Gyarados. I would love to utilize my Krokorok here, but I feel like Gyarados is going to do better, even though he doesn't really have, once again, doesn't have that physical water type move. Also going to use my last Hyper Potion on this Gyarados. So I'm kind of putting all my eggs in this one basket, but I'm hoping it should be enough. He is, once again, still confused. He has not hit himself in confusion once yet. And there he snaps out. So Rock Slide almost surely won't flinch twice. They already flinched once out of... there we go. Beautiful. Water Pulse coming in. Water Pulse doing 48% here. So I might... want to actually just sacrifice switch again. This is so awkward, but I think it's the right play. I want to take truly as little damage on my Gyarados as possible from this Excadrill. So I'd rather make this switch, have this go down, bring back in my Gyarados. I can't two-shot here. I will have to... I'm going to lower his attack to -3, just abusing that Intimidate switch. Rock Slide only doing 18% here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Please don't flinch. Whew, okay. Really tough fight. I still could actually lose this. It's pretty difficult even with those bought Pokemon because the Mons I bought just aren't quite perfect enough. I wish I would have bought a few more heals before jumping into this. We do have 5,000 Pokeyen sitting there we could be utilizing. But down goes that Excadrill. Easily the hardest Pokemon I would guess here to go ahead and fight. I should be able to either Water Pulse or Bite into this fella. Bite, we have flinch chance and it's physical. I prefer that for sure. You have, it's probably it might have water absorb. I always forget if Palpitoad has access to it or not. He poisons me. That is okay, even though it's awkward. I'm going to outspeed him, KO here, and then I should have hopefully these 2 Mons in the back can take out the last Mons. If Gyarados can outspeed here, we could also get a nice... Oh, it's Krokorok in the back. If we outspeed, he gets an Intimidate off. If we outspeed, we can get up some chip damage off. Yeah, some beautiful 45% chip damage before going down. This guy had Pasho Berry to weaken the water type attack. It did become confused though, so that could give me some benefit here. My Krokorok should be faster. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Krokorok, go for Crunch, which won't do a ton of damage, but I do think it's my best option here. Once again, I don't really have other moves right now, unfortunately. Crunch doing 45%. As long as my Pignite outspeeds, we should be good here. This fight should be over. He's going to get a Bulldoze off and take out my Pokemon. He is Intimidate, not Moxie. As long as we outspeed here, this fella should go down, but it's going to be a little close. I'm not going to lie. This cannot miss. It's 100% accuracy. He is faster. Please don't one-shot me. He goes for a Thunder Fang for some reason, and we dodge. We get really lucky there. Whew. Tough gym, but that is gym number 5 completed. In about 30 minutes of time, we took down all of Driftveil City, did all the cold storage quest, as well as took on the gym. I'm pretty happy with that. In 35 minutes, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't amazingly clean, but we got the job done. That's all that matters in the storylines. And that really importantly raises our max obedience up to level 38. And I'm going to start heading to the left and go ahead and get stopped by Bianca for possibly a rival fight. There are a ton of these in the Unova storyline. All right, there's the rival fight done with. Was pretty easy with all of our new powerful Pokemon. And we get access to the most important move to learn on Gyarados, Dragon Dance, which will help you sweep absolutely any fight if you can set up 2 of them while staying alive. And then our Pignite catches an evolution into Emboar as well. Lots of huge power upgrades happening right now. And we get HM Fly. Hell yeah. As much as I want to save as much Pokeyen of ours as possible, I'd really like to get that waterfall on our Gyarados. Part of me also knows that I really need to have some potions for this next upcoming part of the storyline, since we will be deep inside of a cave and we don't want to get killed or, you know, defeated inside the cave itself. So I'm going to buy 3 hyper potions, 2 supers, and probably, you know, the 1 revive that I can afford. I would love to, I got to grind up to like 16,000 Pokeyen, 18,000 Pokeyen, and get the heart skills for my Gyarados though very, very soon. All right, I basically just used my Krokorok to Moxie spam through the entire route. We finally made it over to the cave, and now that we have the Driftveil Gym defeated, he will come open up this web for us. He also gives us a Bulldoze TM, which I will probably go teach to my Krokorok immediately, unless it learns some other ground type attacks. And it gets Earthquake level 42, but we're a bit away from that. And that's going to drastically help our Moxie Pokemon sweep even more teams that it wouldn't normally be able to. Now, inside of Chargestone Cave we go. You also get a free small lucky egg at this point in the PokeMMO storyline, and to be totally honest with you, I love saving resources like this for the end game, the post game, but to be honest with you, once again, the hardest part of your PokeMMO journey is going to be this first region, this very, very first part. So there's a really good chance I go ahead and actually just pop this lucky egg during this cave and just try to lock in and fight all the trainers that I can and get use of that extra XP. You could also potentially save it for when you get to the Elite Four, though, and need to Sweet Send and Horde and level a bunch of your Pokemon. So I might find myself saving it for that as well. We'll see what feels right. Do want to keep myself pretty healthy, though, as I'm making my way through this cave, because there is a big end rival fight at the very end of it, which can be really, really tough. That's why I made sure to spend some of my Pokeyen on potions and revives before heading in here as well. All right, we're at the end of the cave. We have about an hour left of playtime. Let's jump into this tough end rival fight. All right, there is the end fight taken care of. It was a bit tough, but we got it done. All right, we finally made our way to the next city, Mistralton City. Let's lock in our location in the PC. And we got to talk to these fellows for a quick sec and then make our way over to the Celestial Tower, if I recall correctly. And at 30 minutes exactly, we made it to the top of Celestial Tower. And now we have unlocked the gym in Mistralton City. And I did make a really goofball mistake of not bringing a fly Pokemon. I believe if you have a Flymon here, you can actually just fly off of the top of this tower. But because I don't, I have to walk all the way down. All right, now I remember doing this region for the very first time many, many, many years ago, and this gym was really difficult for me back then, and it was definitely the hardest gym for me at the time. I'm curious this time, many years later, how it will be. And before I jump into this, let's go buy those hard scales and get Waterfall on our Gyarados now that we're sitting at a really beautiful 32,000 Pokeyen. Hard scales cost about 6,000 a piece, and we do need 3 of them to get the waterfall move on our Gyarados. So there that is. We're still left with around 15,000 Pokeyen. Pretty happy with that. Want to go talk to this white-haired, or I guess silver-haired fella up here. Select our Gyarados and then relearn Waterfall onto him. Once again, this would have been fantastic to just do this for free, but unfortunately, it's still mandatory. This is our best option, and now we have it done. I still have 4 Hyper Potions and 1 Revive, which I would love to not even have to use against this gym if possible. We do have Dragon Dance, so if we can either set up 2 Dragon Dances with our Gyarados or get some sort of Moxie sweep going with our Krokorok, we have multiple different ways to sweep through this gym. We can most likely see the difference here, where this Waterfall is going to go ahead and one-shot this Tranquil, especially after being boosted by my Dragon Dance, whereas Water Pulse definitely wouldn't have one-shot that Pokemon. I've seen more Rocky helmets as well in the storylines that I remember. That's a crazy item to see scattered around on so many Pokemon, because they just chip away at you. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. They just chip away at you while you're working through. You know, you have in storylines, you have one Pokemon, like my Gyarados has to take down like 10 different Pokemon in a row, right? To like be efficient. You want to go fight all these different trainers back to back to back. You don't want to have to go heal up every time. If you're taking, you know, 20% chip from Rocky Helmet, eventually your Gyarados is going to go down regardless of how powerful it is. All right, and here's the final cannon shot. It is time to take on the gym leader. I'm thinking about, do I even want to go for a quick heal here? If I had like a baby potion, I probably would. I don't really want to waste a hyper potion there if possible. I'm going to go ahead and just jump into this fight. We're leading with our Intimidate Gyarados. The goal here is to set up 1 or 2 Dragon Dances in the face of a Pokemon that can't hit me for that much damage. The problem is the Sigilyph might very well be packing a Thunderbolt, so I probably am going to switch here just in case. Thunderbolt would absolutely obliterate my Gyarados, just taking it out entirely. So I'm going to switch over to this Sandile. There's a chance that, you know, if he goes for Thunderbolt, we have the immunity. I probably can't hit it with too much back, but if I get, there we go. The Charge Beam, yeah, similar thing. We dodged it anyway. I'm going to go for an Assurance here. If he brings it on, we do double damage. You do a little bit of chip. I'm just trying to get some sort of chip damage off so we can bring back in either our Krokorok and get a Moxie Snowball going, or our Gyarados and get some D-Dances up. All right, looks like that's all the chip damage we're gonna go ahead and get. I'm gonna bring my Gyarados here because I should be able to spam D-Dance here mostly safely. If I get burned from a Scald, it would stink, but I can go ahead and go for a burn heal. Also, we're not faster than this thing. Ice Beam only doing 20% is beautiful. I couldn't bring my Croc here as it would just die to a Scald or an Ice Beam. And I'm gonna be a little greedy and go for 2 D-Dances because if you just get enough D-Dances off on Gyarados, it really is just unstoppable. It just obliterates everything. I might even go for a 3rd D-Dance here. The only bad thing, crit doesn't even kill me. The only bad thing is a freeze. So if I can just dodge a freeze here, we're fine. And I can still even hit up with like a hyper potion into an ice heal. Would still, yep, there's the, okay. There's the Patrouski luck freeze, you know, as expected. I literally just expected to be frozen there because I knew it would be the worst case scenario. So we know how to get out of this. Don't worry. We're going to go for the hyper potion into the ice heal. As long as he does not ice beam me right now immediately after and freeze me again, that would be nightmarish, but it's okay. We made it out of that situation. I'm going to go ahead and go for a bite. We do one shot because it was chipped a little bit. Exactly. Beautiful. Okay. We're at +3 attack and +3 speed. Waterfall is going to send this thing to its afterlife. See you later on Pheasant. And the same is true with Swoobat. See you later. It takes a little bit of positioning, a little bit of planning, but if you can set up like this on a Gyarados, man, it's unlosable. It's like impossible to lose the storyline if you can set up 2 to 3 D-Dances. The hard part is just getting a good Gyarados that can do those things and then getting that position in the fight itself. But there we go. That's the 6th gym badge, fellas. All right, there is our 6th gym badge achieved in a fair bit of hours. I'll have to refresh. I think around 7 hours or so, maybe 8 of gameplay. I have spent too much time AFKing on the account, which has been driving up the time played a little bit, unfortunately. And we have over 20,000 steps walked in the challenge. We get an acrobatics TM, and our max obedience level goes up to 43. And we have about 10 minutes left of playtime, but if I go get a few hundred more steps, we could add on an extra hour. And you know what? I think it's perfect. I need a little bit of a break for my mental health. The storylines aren't my favorite thing in Pokemon in general. So after N yaps my ear off a little bit, I'm going to go heal up really quick and then stop my timer and take a break and then see you guys back later, most likely. All right, and here I am a few hours later with over 6,000 steps on the day. That unlocks a full another hour of gameplay. I want to just lock in, try to push towards this storyline and make as much progress as possible. Once we get the storyline done, I feel like the Catching Smeargle, the Breloom, the Jimmy Run team, all those things will really come decently quickly. I could be wrong. I'm curious. I'm a little concerned about Pokeyen making, money making from scratch in Unova. Kanto would have been a better region for that, and I'm not as familiar in Unova from scratch on a brand new account. I'm curious what kind of scrappy methods I'll be able to come up with. But anyways, let's go ahead and start this timer and keep working. Now, maybe don't expect too many progress clips in the next hour and 9 minutes, as I'm really just going to be following a guide and kind of doing the storyline and chugging along. Nothing super exciting. Especially now that we have 2 powerhouse Pokemon in our Dragon Dance plus Waterfall Gyarados, and then our Krokorok with Moxie, Crunch, Bulldoze, and then Emboar in the back if we need it. Like, we're really just set. We have plenty of power now. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. Here's a huge power upgrade. The evolution on my Krokorok into Crocodile. That is a pretty big base stat. Let's see, 82 attack versus like 109 or something like that. Let's see, 117. That's a pretty big boost. Also, that speed boost. When you're trying to get that Moxie snowball going, the biggest problem you run into is just your Krokorok not being fast enough. So it being a lot faster now is huge. Hey, you know what? I honestly need myself a fly Pokemon. I actually just headed back to the PC. I'm at the point where it actually would really be nice to have a fly Pokemon. And I know I won't be able to use this yet in the storyline. I'm wondering if I could actually grab one. I'm trying to think of what the max obedience level cap is in Unova for like the Elite Four. I'd love to have one that I could use, but you know what? I don't know. It's gonna be really cheap. I'm not super worried about it. I'm gonna go ahead and just buy the cheapest Dragonite possible. You do not need a good Dragonite when it comes to an HM Pokemon. You just teach it all the HMs, you know, do what you need to do. I'm gonna go ahead and give this thing Fly. I'm gonna give it, you know, Surf. I just got that. Whatever it needs to. The main thing is just Fly right now, that I want to be able to get back to, you know, from routes to go heal up a bit quicker, and then get back into the action. And even though I don't have the max obedience level to use it in fights, I believe I can use it as an HM Pokemon. So let me go ahead and show you what that looks like. So I can go ahead and click my little thing, click Fly, and yes, it does work. All right, and with 43 minutes left today, we've officially made our way over to the next town, Icirrus City. Now we can head over to this building in Icirrus City, talk to the person inside, show them a Pokemon that we've XP trained a fair bit, and then he will give us an XP share for free if that Pokemon has gained enough levels. There we go. We didn't show it a high enough level Pokemon, or at least one that we trained enough at first, but there we go. There is the XP share we got from showing him our Emboar. We will immediately equip that to go ahead and spread out the XP a little bit more. Then we're going to immediately head inside and try to take on the gym if possible. First things first, let's go spend some of our Pokeyen on some healing items. 7 or so hyper potions and 2 revives should do. And we have a lot of ice puzzles to do. All right, with 33 minutes on our timer, on to the 7th gym in Unova. I'm going to once again lead things off here with my Gyarados, try to get an Intimidate proc off, but a lot of these mons might be special attacking, and then try to potentially bring in my Crocodile later on in the fight and get steam rolling on a low HP target with some Moxie. Oh, or this bear tick is going to fucking cook me. Holy. Hopefully I don't just lose off that one shot. That was pretty unexpected. I do have some revives in the bag. This thing is like Slush Rush, I bet, or whatever, where his speed is doubled under snow. I bet that's kind of what went on here. That went kind of crazy. All right, I've been paralyzed, unfortunately. If I get full parrot here and it goes for a rest, it might be over, but that would be the unluckiest thing to possibly happen. Okay, at least it didn't go for a rest. I might still lose, though. I've used all of my healing items as well for this fight. I had some really bad RNG. Once again, I've just had terrible RNG during this storyline run, and sometimes that's just what happens. It has slowed things down, but it has not stopped them, so you got to just keep going. I'm going to kill this thing, get a nice Moxie proc, and hopefully be fast enough to take down the remaining 2 Pokemon, but if anything outspeeds me here, I'm probably just dead. And yeah, there it is. That's really frustrating. I was like so ahead for a lot of this fight. I just wasted like 3 revives and a hyper potion. A lot of terrible RNG in this fight. It is what it is. Once again, if I can beat the storyline with this terrible RNG, I bet you can do it, okay? I believe in you. All right, there we go. Second attempt, just fully swept this thing with a Dragon Dance Gyarados, literally 0 problem. So there is our 7th gym badge in Unova. All through the power of touch and grass. Our max obedience goes up to level 46. Next up is taking down Dragon Spiral Tower. All right, we have 9 minutes left. I'm hoping it's enough time. I'm going to go ahead and make my way up to this big end fight. This is a huge fight in the storyline run. We're 8 hours in, level 46, 7 gym badges, and we have this beautiful cinematic to go ahead and appreciate. Maybe he just flies. Oh, I remember now. I always think this is a fight, but I think he actually just flies off with Reshiram, doesn't he? We have to just trigger him basically flying away, and then we'll go fight him at the Elite Four later on. Also, Reshiram always hangs out over there in this cinematic for some reason. Yeah, that's not okay. No fight. We have plenty of time then. All right, but next up in the storyline is going to be Relic Castle over by Nimbasa City. But before we can really take on the big sandy castle, I'm going to have to touch some more grass and go outside, get more steps in. And that will have to take place on a new day after I get some rest. I've definitely been getting a bit sore from all this walking. My body's just not used to it, but it's not too bad, and I've been comfortable pushing through thus far. And I'm hoping that I can beat the storyline maybe tomorrow or the next day. I don't know if I'll be able to play tomorrow, unfortunately, but I'm hoping I can beat the storyline on our next big walk day. But for now, I'll see you guys soon. And spoiler alert, I did not end up coming back that night. Actually, I'm starting to notice that the hard part of this challenge is putting all of these hours into Pokemon, not the walking itself. It's kind of interesting to see that change kind of take place. But here we are on a new night. It's actually 8:30 p.m. on the 4th day of this challenge, and I was just barely able to squeeze in 5,000 steps today. I was very busy. I had to travel a bit today. I went to dinner with some family, and here we are now back on PokeMMO, just barely over 5,000 steps. So I do have 2 hours of gameplay to lock in, and it's going to be more of the same, just kind of locking in with the storyline stuff and trying to push along. We are at 7 out of 8 of our gym badges done, so I'm really excited for that. Potentially I could be either taking on the Elite Four tonight or prepping for that, which is kind of crazy, but we'll get to that when we get to that. I don't want to get ahead of myself. And I'm going to go ahead and go pick up some repels for this next section, since we'll be over in the desert resort area, which does require a fair bit of like random encounter trudging along. So I'm going to spend some Pokeyen there, but I'm going to go ahead and start my timer. You can see my 2-hour timer, and I'll see you guys with any notable updates. Ooh, we do get a chance to get Earthquake over on our Crocodile. I'm honestly considering, I think I'd rather teach Earthquake over Swagger. Even though I'd rather have access to Bulldoze. Being able to lower the opponent's speed can like sometimes really matter in certain situations where I am okay with the Crocodile going down, but getting some benefit before it does. All right, I already finished the little quick sand castle mini quest. Let's now head over to Nakreen and do a little bit of a gather up. You see a little bit of a top secret meeting takes place in the middle of town. And then we get a stone that can awaken a dragon. And now we just fly back to our past city and continue on as normal. Typical Pokemon storyline stuff. Of course, we have one more quick rival fight though before we can continue, but thankfully I'm not worried about any fights right now. My Moxie Crocodile is finally at full power. He takes a little bit to get warmed up, but he is obliterating everything. And then I don't even have to use my Gyarados very often in the back, but if I need to, it's there. With these two Pokemon bought, the storyline's an absolute breeze. The hard part is getting there. Pretty huge unlock for the account. Once you make your way over to Opelucid City, you can head back to Route 9, and this is the shopping mall in Unova. You can get all Pokeballs that you need over here, especially like specialty Pokeballs like Timer Balls to catch Alpha Pokemon. You can get whatever TMs you need from this shop right here. This is probably easily the most important shop to unlock overall in Pokemon. There's just so many amazing things here at the Unova shopping mall. All right, and after we listen to a little bit of dragon yapping, I believe we can just go ahead and go take on the gym whenever we are ready, and I think I'm ready. I will say, this is actually Outrage might go bonkers here. Outrage or Ice Fang. This is a weird storyline part where you could arguably go Heart Scale or relearn Ice Fang on Gyarados. I'd like to not if possible. I might go pick myself up an X Speed, because then I could go ahead and pop an X Speed on my Crocodile, and then any Moxie, boost that I get, I'll have +2 speed because of the X Speed item within the battle, and then I'll also be gaining damage. And once you have both of those, the main problem with Crocodile is that sometimes he gets outsped. That's where he really gets countered. So if you can fix his speed, I mean, you'll be absolutely cooking. This gym is honestly a decently tough one, and it's also kind of a mess. Once you lose in this gym and have to go like back out and back in, redoing this puzzle can be a bit of a pain. So I'm going to try to one-shot this, but I might need to go buy a few more hyper potions or things like that before I really do. But I also have Outrage on my Gyarados, which is not a move I would normally teach him, so it's going to slot in here pretty nicely. I'm gonna be so honest, I usually struggle a fair bit when doing this gym specifically in a lot of my story reruns, but Outrage on Gyarados has been absolutely cooking. I have a Dragon Fang on him, I just click Outrage, I kill everything in one shot. It's been so nice. Outrage is generally a pretty weak move in PokeMMO since it's only 90 base power on a dragon type physical attack, and you can't stop it. Once you click it, it's kind of like Pedal Dance or whatever, where it keeps going for 2 to 3 turns, and then afterwards you're confused. So why would you want to be locked into a move that's 90 base power and then also be confused after you're done it? It's generally not worth it, but here in this specific situation, it's doing a ton of work. All right, here's the final piece of the puzzle. I'm gonna have to use some hyper potions and probably even pop an elixir to get my Outrage PP back to normal. My plan is gonna be to set up 1 or 2 Dragon Dances and then just click Outrage and hope it works. Or Ether, that's what I always confuse. Elixir and Ether. Not that it really matters. They're pretty darn similar. There we go. That'll heal the PP back up to 10. We should be pretty safe here. I'm going to lead with my Gyarados as well. Get that Intimidate proc. That can really matter. If we get a bad matchup into a physical Pokemon, we could even sacrifice switch out to our Apom or out to our Dragonite, and then just bring back in the Gyarados just to make sure. Yeah, I might want to do that here, honestly. Or I could just click Outrage right now. I'm pretty certain that Outrage just kills this Fracture. I might just do that. It's a little awkward. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Oh, I didn't kill. Okay, that sucks. I'm not gonna lie. I've seen this Outrage kill other Fractures multiple times. Ah, that's why. Well, okay. The PokeMMO Classic, bro, they have a berry that reduces the dragon damage. I can just sacrifice. The beautiful thing with Outrage in the storylines is if I get confused, I can just go ahead and sacrifice switch outwards and then bring back in. Oh, this is gonna do a lot of damage to me though. After my Outrage should do pretty. Ooh, it's faster than me as well. That's what this is. Oh, I killed it though. Did I crit? How did I kill this but not the Fracture? It's that Habenberry difference. Holy wow. I'm pretty shocked by that, but very happily shocked. Yeah, now I am confused. I can go ahead and do a sacrifice switch over to something like Apom and then just throw up a Hyper Potion on my Gyarados, and this fight is going swimmingly. Our Apom goes down there as expected. I don't think my Emboar is doing anything in this fight. I think Emboar is kind of ass. Respectfully, Emboar, I love you as a Pokemon. I think it's kind of like against this gym, not, in totality, but I'm gonna go ahead and Hyper Potion my Gyarados like this. We get a free switch. I'll take it. Flame Charge, like nothing I'm clicking here is doing anything. I could click Takedown, I guess, and get chip damage, but I'm not going to get a whole lot of value on my Emboar here, so I'm not going to try. I can click Assurance and get 120 base power because I will be slower for sure because Emboar's pretty slow. I mean, I'll take some chip damage, some free chip damage, where I can then bring in my Gyarados and set up a nice sweep. All right, there's 3 Pokemon left. I think I'm safe to go ahead and go Gyarados here, set up 1 or 2 Dragon Dances. I wonder if I want to try to bite through this thing. I don't think so. I think I just go ahead and set up a Dragon Dance or 2 and then just click Outrage and just hope that I don't get confused after 2. Flamethrower. Oh yeah, we're going to be good here. Since Flamethrower is doing so little damage to me, I think Bite is going to 2-shot, but I think it's still worth it. I'm going to go ahead and go for the Bite. We also have Flinch chance. Yeah, we get the Flinch. Beautiful. Huge Flinch there. Saves me a little bit of HP. And now I can Bite this down and then Outrage into the next 2 Pokemon, and this should be a guaranteed sweep. Can't recommend Outrage enough on Gyarados for this gym specifically. Also, our Pokeyen stack. We made a lot of Pokeyen. We walked into this gym with 36,000 Pokeyen and are now up to 52k. We might leave this gym with like 60,000 Pokeyen. That's real Pokeyen. That's like legit pretty darn nice. 56,000, so like pretty darn good. But there it is. There's Icirrus defeated. That is gym badge number 8 achieved while walking and touching grass. And we get a nice Dragon Tail TM, which can be relevant. We also get our Master Ball from Professor Juniper. So now all that's left is we have about 2 more rival fights, I believe. Then we have to fight Bianca and Sharon up here on Route 10. And then after that, we just have to take on the Victory Road and we'll be at the Elite Four. Now, I only have an hour and 14 minutes left of gameplay, so I'd really like to aim to get all of my Elite Four preparations done before being able to take it on maybe tomorrow or a day in the future where I can get my steps in to play PokeMMO in the same day. The time factor has easily been the most difficult part of this challenge, and it's such an important thing to remember when people are trying to get their steps in and trying to exercise. Having to do all of that plus play the game, it's tough. If I were just doing one or the other, it'd be so much easier, but it is difficult to get both in. On top of work, on top of guides, on top of spending time with loved ones and my wife and all these things, life has never been more complicated than it is right now. There's just a lot of things that we're all trying to tackle, and it's important to remember that we can only take on, a few of them every day or so. It's never been more important to stick to the classic but true phase of just sometimes you got to take it day by day, just one day at a time. All right, rival fights taken care of. It's just time to take on a few more NPCs and then walk through the pearly gates. All right, here it is, the beginning of the gates, all the places we earned by getting our gym badges and taking our steps. I always love this area personally. Super beautiful, nice little Zen garden. And then the bug statue one, come on, you can't sleep on it. And then, of course, what every Pokemon player wants to do, they have to do an ice puzzle to earn their route to the Elite Four. Thankfully, it's pretty brain dead easy. You can just do whatever for the most part. And with about an hour left, we make our way to the gateway of Victory Road. All right, and here it is. Here we are, the entrance to the Elite Four in Unova. We're coming out of this cave with 75,000 Pokeyen, which also feels pretty darn nice. Now, the real problem is I need to get prepped for the Elite Four. My max obedience level is 56. My Gyarados is only level 52. My Crocodile is only level 46. And I don't really have that many items as well. Now, we have our 1 free XP share from the storyline. So that's step 1. Step 2 is I need some sort of sweet scent Pokemon. Now, if you have a good memory, unlike myself, you might have remembered that getting a catching Smeargle was on our goal list for this series. I would love to get a catching Smeargle that also has access to sweet scent if possible. We also didn't really talk about it, but we pretty much completed our first goal of the challenge with our HM Dragonite. This fellow's just sitting over here. He was really cheap to get and really easy. And once we get the Elite Four done and have access to level 100 Pokemon, that's when he'll really kick in. All right, but after a little bit of browsing the GTL, I might have found our perfect candidate. It's going to cost us a fair bit of Pokeyen, 58,000 Pokeyen, but this person has done all of the hard work for us. They've EV trained the Smeargle, they've given it Soak, Sweet Scent, False Swipe, and Spore, so it has all the moves we needed to learn. If you don't know how to teach these moves to it, I do have a guide on my channel on how to teach Smeargle any move with the Sketch ability. It's pretty simple, but some moves are really difficult. Certain moves are a lot harder than others. Things like Teleport come to mind, for example. And as expensive as this Smeargle is, it's going to save me some time in the long run, and I'm looking forward to that. So I'm going to go ahead and bite the bullet and spend 58,000 Pokeyen, so much of our Pokeyen, on this Smeargle. And now with our new Catching Smeargle, which also has the Sweet Scent PP Max, which saves us around 20,000 Pokeyen on PP Max, so that's really nice. We can now fly over to a few locations and train some of our Pokemon. Specifically, I'm going to go ahead and use my Earthquake and Crocodile to attack EV Train itself alongside our Gyarados. This is going to both XP train both of these Pokemon, but also EV train them at the same time. You see, getting certain EVs done, like putting, attack EVs into a Gyarados is really important. Attack EVs into Crocodile, especially speed EVs if I can, that'd be fantastic. I think I should be able to. But it might be a little tough without having access to Lucanosa Town, which is the town, I believe, after the Elite Four. But I'm a big fan of the Bufalon attack EV training spot just north of Opelucid City. So you can head over to Opelucid City, head up north over to Route 10, hop inside this grass, and you can see I keybound our Sweet Scent. I can go ahead and click Sweet Scent in the grass. That's going to give me a horde of 5 Bouffalants. I can now click Earthquake on our Crocodile and hopefully kill all the Bouffalants. Some of them might live if they're bulky enough, but that's okay in these early stages. The more Bouffalants I kill, the more attack EVs I'll get. Yeah, I did not quite kill them all, unfortunately, but you can see if I could get myself something like a soft sand off the GTL, which should be pretty cheap, that might give us the needed damage boost to kill all these fellas. Yeah, we might actually end up getting killed here, so we might not be strong enough quite yet to take on the horde. This is also where choice items come really handy. If you have any choice items, choice bands, choice scarfs, they're very powerful. If you have about 100,000 Pokeyen, you can also afford them, and that's a huge thing. If you have enough money to buy a choice band or a scarf or specs at the Elite Four, and then some money left over to buy healing items, I would go ahead and do it, because you can either keep the choice item, which will inevitably be helpful for the rest of your PokeMMO career, or sell it back on the GTL, take a small loss on the tax, take a little bit of a Pokeyen loss, but then afterwards, you'll get that you still get that benefit basically of the choice band during your Elite Four fight, and only lose about 5 to 10,000 Pokeyen max. And thankfully, soft sands are affordable right now at 4,500 Pokeyen. I'm going to go ahead and buy one of these. It's going to boost my ground type attacks, aka the big earthquake that I'm throwing off of my Crocodile, by 20%. That will also be useful during the Elite Four itself. And then if I still can't kill the Bouffalants quite yet, my Crocodile is only level 46 and my cap right now is 56. So once I get a few more levels, we should be good. Or if I can at least kill like 1 or 2 of these in the horde, then they shouldn't be able to kill me in return, so we can make some sort of progress. I have about 45 minutes to do some EV training and just XP training in general. Hopefully I'll see you guys with some good progress. We didn't kill anything there, just barely. If I can get lucky, oh man, that one hit 65%. Is that a crit? If I can get lucky and have not that many of them use reversal, I think I just lived. Now, the problem is I did get my speed lowered. This is really awkward. You don't want your EV training to look like this. This is obviously terrible. But when you're early on, when you're a new Pokemon player, whatever gets you to that next stage is, that's all that matters. It does not need to look pretty. You do not need to be a perfect player when you're early on like this. You got to just be able to get any progress you can take, So I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice switch, bring back in my Crocodile. It's going to look messy, but I'm still going to get the horde defeated. And that's what matters. Slow progress is better than no progress. Trying to make progress is better than someone not trying to make progress. And here is our first horde defeated on the PokeMMO Touch Grass Challenge. So here is just the second horde of me trying to, I guess third horde technically, of me trying to attempt this. And I was already able to kill 3 out of 5 of the Bouffalants. So you can see there, once, just a little bit of EV training really starts snowballing. I wasn't able to take care of these fellas just 2 seconds ago, and now I'll be smoothly EV training here in no time. All right, I've been a little preoccupied by all my EV training / XP training, but I do want to go ahead and also pick myself up a Stealth Rock Pokemon off the GTL. If you don't know, I'm a big, massive advocate of getting a sturdy Stealth Rock Pokemon. I'm spending 3,000 Pokeyen on this Gigalith, which has 20 plus attack, 25 speed, no nature, which is okay, sturdy ability, and then Stealth Rock. That's going to allow me to set up Stealth Rock every single fight against the Elite Four, because after you beat each Elite Four member, you actually do get healed within PokeMMO. You'll see it a lot more once we're actually in the battles later on, but the Stealth Rocks are so freaking powerful. They chip down your opponent's HP, they break things like Focus Sashes, your opponent's sturdy ability, and they just end up doing so much damage and really allowing your Pokemon to also get off one-shots they wouldn't be able to. This really matters on a Pokemon like Crocodile, where you really want to finish one kill and then move on to the next with that Moxie ability snowballing. Alrighty, and with the clock winding down and then our third Pokemon reaching level 55 plus, I think that is going to be the most perfect poetic place to go ahead and call it, fellas. We ended up leveling up our Crocodile up to level 56 at the level cap, our Gyarados also up to level 56, and then our new Gigalith up to level 55, and some good EVs on all of them. Gyarados at 252 attack EVs, Crocodile at 2v2 attack EVs, and then some leftover stuff, and then Gigalith at 90 and 57 respectively in defense. But more importantly, we've been doing all of this progress while also keeping our physical health up to a decent degree. It's not amazing. Is 5k steps a lot at the end of the day? No. But for me, I think it's a really good starting position, and I hope it can be a motivator for a lot of you guys out there as well. Thank you so much for watching another episode of the PokeMMO Touch Grass Initiative. Episode 3 will be out as soon as I finish recording it, and I will be seeing you guys when I take on the Elite Four in the next episode. Like the video if you enjoyed it, dislike if not, subscribe, follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET, and if you want to go above and beyond and support the content, YouTube memberships, Twitch Primes, Twitch subs, PayPal, Venmo, all that stuff, have a great day. I'll see you guys later. Peace, Arena. Yo, what's up? Outro Patrouski here, and I wanted to take this time to say thank you to everyone who goes above and beyond and supports my channel. Your names are all listed here. You make it possible for me to make helpful and mildly entertaining content for the game that I love and make it available for free for everyone to enjoy. Thank you so much for allowing me to even be here.